Francis. I was reading in a book of Jean Klein that at some point all interpretations must stop. Could you comment on that? Is it is it true that when one is established in peace, somehow one stops interpreting events and situations?
Well, it depends on what you mean by interpretation. Can you be more specific?
Well, when I read this sentence, it was a bit of a shock because I have almost an automatism as maybe a scientist, I don't know, to interpret everything. So as soon as I start to put my attention on an event or a situation, there's some kind of theory which emerges, probably wrong, but this is very mental. So does that has to stop?
Yeah, to make a theory of everything is not the theory of everything.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know what was, for instance, and there are people, for instance, on the spiritual path, on the New Age path. Every time something happens in their life or in the life of others, they come up with, they want to have an explanation, and often this explanation to me seems quite unnatural and forced. For instance, let's say, he has prostate cancer, oh, it's because he was cheating on his wife.
That seems good explanation to me. Okay, I'll stop. I'm not a good ambassador for science.
Or I fell on the stairs, and it was because I had, I don't know, you see what I mean, to force things that, of course, there are explanations that are logical, you know. I fell on the stairs because there was ice on the stairs. And I didn't pay attention. That's a good explanation. That's a good interpretation. And there is nothing wrong with this good interpretation. You see? But the New Agey interpretations that are not obvious, not, you know, not reasonable, let's put it this way, I think we can dispense with.
So the mental doesn't have to come to a stop, or is it temporary? The mind?
But the mind has some use, you know. I didn't sleep well because I drank coffee last night. You know, it's good. There is no problem. You notice and you say, oh yeah, I have this insomnia. Yeah, I remember drinking coffee at 8 o'clock. It's good because next time I have the choice. You see, this type of, there is nothing wrong with this type of interpretation or use of the mind. It's a use of our intelligence. There is nothing wrong with that. We're using our intelligence. But often we use the mind not in a... In other words, let's put it this way, to be more precise about what I'm saying. There is nothing wrong when the mind works from facts. there is something fishy when the mind works from belief systems that are not established. So the mind is a tool that is designed that is efficient when it works from facts, but not when it works from beliefs. It's like a computer, right? If the input, the data, the input data in the computer is the correct one, and if the program is well written, then the output will be correct. However, even if the program is correct, if the input data is false, the output is going. That's how politicians fool us with statistics. They say it comes out of the computer, therefore it's sacred. But what they have put inside as an input in the computer was lousy. But the computer seems to purify the data from its lousiness. I know that. I've been a civil servant and I've done that quite often. So I know what I'm talking about. So don't believe statistics that governments give you.
At least not all of it.
Yeah.
Francis, there's a saying along those lines. They say numbers don't lie, liars figure.
But we went on a tangent. But it was about interpretation, right? So that which matters are the facts. And then it's correct to try to come up with interpretations and to see how to correlate facts to come up with a theory, right? But if you start from a belief system, you end up with something else. That's the difference between science and obscurantism, precisely. That obscurantism starts from, you see obscurantism here? No. It's not common. No. Esotericism has nothing to do. Esotericism is something. It means that which comes from the inside. But obscurantism is that which comes from false knowledge, from belief systems that are insubstantiated by facts and experience.
Sometimes one has intuition before coming to facts. Sometimes you have some intuitions before being able to substantiate it with facts.
Of course.
So when is at the level of intuitions, is it good to interpret, or shall we wait for the facts?
It's okay to work from an intuition in order to logically try to look at the consequences of this intuition. If A is true, then I should observe B and C and D. But then I still have to try to observe whether B and C and D are present in nature.
Okay.
But I think also what he refers to is the constant commenting of what's going on. Like you watch a tennis match and you have the commentators and you're interested in the shots and in the game, and the commentator says, oh, he's so-and-so, he's married, he's just got married, they are expecting, the wife is pregnant, or they have a hard time, or he had this injury. And you couldn't care less about this thing, especially while the ball is in play. But I guess for the general public here, that's what they want, because that's what they give them. So that's this voice that keeps commenting, you see, instead of the thing itself, Life is a thing itself, right? And this little voice that keeps commenting and in fact deprives you from the direct experience of life. So, because Jean, we use often this, not only about the interpretation, the commenting, which is in real time, if you will, but when he would guide a meditation, he would say, no recapitulating, meaning don't go back into the past and bring the past into the present through recollections. No anticipating, so don't go into the future, don't project yourself, and also no interpretation, no interpreting, which is that which is going on right now, to escape it by putting a comment. So, in this case, the recapitulation, the anticipation, and the interpretation are simply ways to escape what is. You see, they are an escape of what life is bringing at that very moment.
So if I have these problems, I think I still have the voice commenting, a bit less, but still it's commenting a lot, and the projection and recapitulation too. So the idea what to do is when I see this happen, to observe it?
Yeah, because there is no problem with thinking. Thinking is not an escape from the fact. As long as it is functional, as long as it is thinking for practical purpose, there are three types of thought that are functional. Practical purposes, thinking about the truth, and celebratory thinking. In other words, thinking that comes out of a sense of joy and of enthusiasm, you see? So these three types of thinking, they are okay. But mechanical thinking which is like just noise, some kind of noise. The example I mentioned, when I was a child, and when I was sick, I was getting bored in my bed, being sick with the flu or something. And there was wallpaper in the wall. And the wallpaper, of course, has repetitive pattern. And I would follow the wallpaper up, down, and then up, down, always the same pattern, blum, 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 blum. Or people who walk in the street, and there is a pattern in the pavement, and they place their feet, you see, and then. This type of activity is an escape. You see, it is a kind of noise because it's repetitive. There is nothing there. You see what I mean? It doesn't fit the definition I had just given of useful thinking. For practical purpose, there is no practical purpose in putting your feet like that, right? It is not out of enthusiasm and joy and love and freedom, right? And what was the third one? It is not searching for the truth, right? So it is a little, other people, they have movement like that, they do always that. And that creates also something that fills up the emptiness. It's a way to escape the presence. It's an avoidance of presence, of the experience of presence.
So again, the way to deal with that is when we observe that it happens to...
As it happens, ask yourself, as if this form of thinking happens, ask yourself the three questions I've mentioned, and you see if it doesn't fit one of these purposes. Perhaps I have forgotten one. Then you ask me, is that one okay, you know? But assuming that I've covered all the bases, then you drop it like an empty, like a dirty sock.
But then it comes back when
you drop it again. After a while, it stops coming up. If you are consistent in it, you know, every time you drop it, it's like a fan which keeps running out of inertia. Every time you put your fingers in it, it slows down the momentum. At some point it will stop. In the beginning it hurts, but then it doesn't hurt because there is less energy, kinetic energy in the fan.